Alrighty, good afternoon or morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome to the latest episode of TGIF, aka Thank Goodness It's Fortinet. We host a new topic every week on all things Fortinet every Friday. Today we're covering FortiAnalyzer. Before you ask, yes, I am recording today's session, and I'll be sending a link of the recording afterwards to everyone who's registered for today's episode. Just a few quick things. I posted up a poll at the beginning here. Let me take that down and let's take a look at the results. Looks like we have a lot of people today that are more than 3 years partnership with Fortinet, so that's great. The topic and the info that we cover on these webinars is great even if you're new or you've been a long-standing partner. So it's a great information across the board. Pretty good scattering of authorized silver, gold, and platinum, which we always seem to see, which is great. Looks like a lot of you are now getting referrals from coworkers about TGIF, which is great. We definitely want you to spread the word. The more, the merrier. And interesting trivia question. I think most of you are Googling the answer because some of these, I try to make them harder and harder every week, but most people seem to answer it right. So what did J. Edgar Hoover bar people from walking on? His shadow. I don't really have a lot of context around that, but it's quite interesting. He's an interesting character. I'd love to get his thoughts on that, but yeah, he did not like people stepping on his shadow. So there you go. All right, let me take those down then. All right, everybody. So just a real quick introduction. My name is Dana Mead. I am part of the new Exclusive Networks team here in the Miami office. I focus on sales and business development. Just a few really quick things to touch on before we get into it. Just take a moment to check your microphone, and I'm going to be going through and giving everyone permissions to mute and unmute themselves. So just be aware. It should leave you on mute, but just in case, you never know. If you don't have any questions or don't need to speak up or anything, go ahead and keep yourself on mute so that we don't have any distracting background noises or anything like that. We love to keep the discussion interactive, so please feel free to speak up if you have a question. But if you prefer to just rely on the Q&A or the chat, I'll be monitoring that for David today as he goes through the presentation. But also in the background, I have Christian Postier, our Fortinet channel engineer, helping to answer and field some of the more technical questions as David goes through today's presentation. But again, David loves questions. Don't make him feel lonely. Feel free to speak up and ask any questions. We love that. So again, thanks for taking part in the poll, everybody. I will have another poll at the end of today's session, your feedback on the delivery and of our webinar. We really value your feedback information to help improve the future episodes that we have coming up and also future content as well. All right, so let's take a look here. All right, thank you, David. So just a few quick things about Exclusive Networks. We're a global value add distributor. We are headquartered in Paris, France, but we have offices all over the world like Asia Pacific, Europe, Middle East, North America, and Australia, just to give you an idea. We have a hyper focus on cyber and cloud security, and that's where our expertise lies. We are 100% channel sales and service, so we don't deal with the end user at all. Our focus and support and resources are dedicated just for you. We do have a global deals desk and a warehouse to seamlessly accommodate large deals and projects. We can ship pretty much to anywhere in the world, and we can also take care of all the logistics for you. We also offer full functioning support and training, pre-sales, post-sales, group, or one-on-one trainings, and they're all readily available. And just reach out to any of us for more info, and I'll be posting that information in the chat as well, so you can capture that too. We do like to take a boutique style approach to our value add distribution model. So we don't offer 1-800 numbers or email aliases. You get direct contact to all the resources that you offer with that friendly touch. Plus, we tout highly responsiveness, so quick turnaround on quotes, questions, technical support, all of that good stuff. And looks like I pretty much touched on everything right here. We offer NSE certification and training, of course. We have a wide range of finance and leasing services that can help you cover every IT project requirement and technology. And then we also have a solid and growing list of vendor partners, and they've all been chosen specifically to integrate within Fortinet security fabric. So that helps you on the back end as well. All right, perfect. So just allow me to introduce our presenter today, David Yang. He is our Senior Director of Support and Services. David's been with Exclusive Networks, also formerly known as FiTech, for over 8 years. And before joining Exclusive Networks as support and services, David's held various positions such as application developer, software QA, information technology, and systems engineer. So he brings a lot of knowledge and experience to the table. So David, I will go ahead and pass it along to you.
Thank you, Dana, and good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you again to join me with the TGIF and try to hear my talking. In the meantime, I do appreciate any questions or any suggestion, any topics you want to talk about in the future. And the other thing I would really like to find out is how many people are returning or recurring audience for TGIF, so I can get more understanding what we need to do to improve. To get this started, let me just quickly introduce the support and services, which is the department I'm heading. We have pre and post sale support, like Dana mentioned. We do FortiGate jump stop. We do FortiGate migration services, staging services. We also help you or your customer do vulnerability testing. We provide, or I should say, we partner with a third-party training facility to provide Fortinet NSE certification training from NSE 4 all the way to NSE 7. And we also provide cloud competency training in-house. Then Fortinet, so before I dive into the FortiAnalyzer or give you a brief introduction of FortiAnalyzer, I will first talk about the security fabric as all the episodes we've been going through. Fortinet security fabric's architecture that provided by Fortinet with Fortinet's own technology and products, as well as Fortinet's security fabric partners, third-party solution that's certified by Fortinet with the security fabrics. So it's very broad. It's all integrated, all the technology, all the product integrated, and it's automated. So this is the architecture throughout all the TGIF's episode that we've been discussing, is that try to bring all those Fortinet technology and products together to give you a whole end-to-end east to west, south to north solution that you can protect your and your customer environment. And also, there's a very important understanding of how this works. A lot of people talking about FortiGate, and some people even talk about FortiGate, oh, it's a firewall. No, it's not just a firewall. It's really an end-to-end solution for you. So the FortiGuard subscription, last week we talked about FortiGuard a little bit, and it's very, very important to protecting your network, because the FortiGuard, the backend FortiGuard lab, research lab, is really to address immediately and as well as any historical security breaches or any break-in that can damage the customer or your data and your network. So if you look at the 360 protection, that's if you see the green one, that's actually from bottom to the top. And I want to especially address the FortiAnalyzer cloud, which will touch base a little bit. It's not totally in line with what we want to talk about FortiAnalyzer itself, but there's a FortiAnalyzer cloud, which if to start it up, you should have that cloud solution in your FortiGate, so you will see at least a minimum amount of understanding of what's going on with the FortiGate or in your network. So there's different services available. Feel free to ask questions regarding all the services available for FortiGuard, and we will happily to help you to understand. So today's agenda, very, very brief, because FortiAnalyzer actually has a lot of function in there. However, because with the time limitation, I cannot go through all of them. However, if you're interested and you want to, please feel free to address that, send a question or send an email to us. Let us know which part you want to drill into, or if you want to arrange one-to-one or one-to-multiple demo, we can do that for you. So today I'm going to talk about a high level of FortiAnalyzer, and we're going straight into the log and the reports. There's tons of function or features in the log and report we can talk about today. And at the end, I'll give you a brief a demo. So you will see how the FortiAnalyzer work, how to set it up, how to see the log, how to check the log, and also how to see the default templates and reports, as well as maybe some customizations. So this is a quick overview of a FortiAnalyzer. You can see that you have a multiple FortiGates, could be in the branch office, could be your home, or your even remote foreign country, something like that. And you can still pass the FortiGate logs securely to your FortiAnalyzer. So the log will come from each of a FortiGate. We'll show you in the demo later and let you understand how to set up the FortiGate to send the log to the FortiAnalyzer. So once you have a FortiAnalyzer deployed, you register FortiAnalyzer with the FortiGate. So each of FortiAnalyzer, you can register FortiGate or multiple FortiGate into the analyzer. Once FortiAnalyzer got authorized with the FortiGate, that a connection is established. And then FortiGate will start sending the log to the FortiAnalyzer. You can do real time, you can do different time, or even different level, depends, right? And then FortiAnalyzer will buffer or cache all those logs and try to understand what are those logs coming from, and then put it into each responding respective FortiGate devices as their own logs. And then after that, as administrator, you can view, you can do search, you can check on each of the log, you can drill into it, because there's many different types of logs, not just one logs, but many different types of logs based on what kind of traffic, based on your security setting. Then an administrator can view, can search, can filter, and then even do analysis based on the lost log. Afterwards, the administrator or whoever is responsible for that can create default template, default report, or customize the report and provide to management team or provide to a security team. So the key feature of the FortiAnalyzer is, like I mentioned earlier, is that we have logs, we have the reports. The logs depends on the levels setting you want, have each of the log. So the log can be different, can be everything, can be only security related. Now, the log could be very big, right? So based some understanding, the log could be up to 20 gig per day, depends on what kind of log you have, what kind of level log, how detailed or how different kind of log you want to have. So it could be up to 20 to 25 gig of data. Then there's alerts, basically from the event management, that you can set up alerts to inform you if there are any anomaly kind of events happen, or any certain event that happened to this administrator account. You can set up alerts for doing so. And then you can archive those logs based on your requirement. So because you can set up the quota for each log file, or each devices, I should say, then if it's over this quota, the log can be archived to different places. Or if you have a VM, you can send a log, archive log to local storage if you want to. And even the local storage can be set up with the RAID. We'll talk about a little bit later. And there's ADOM, so administrative domain. Basically, you can set up different administrator for different devices or different group of devices, or even different product. FortiAnalyzer is not just for FortiGate only. Of course, FortiGate is the main one, but you can use FortiAnalyzer to collect log from different Fortinet products, such as FortiDDoS, FortiManager, the Sandbox, client, FortiMail, FortiWeb, those kind of things, right? And then, so there's many different types of service, different type of devices or products that FortiAnalyzer supports. And everything's based on SQL database. So you can use a SQL query to query the database if you have a specific need or requirement to generate any product or try to do any more deep understanding of the packets or the traffic. Now, FortiAnalyzer can set up in two different kinds of mode. One's just FortiAnalyzer, like we talk about. So FortiAnalyzer collecting all the logs, and you can do log reports, all those kind of things. But also, if you have a much larger, wider network, you might want to set up a collector. So maybe collector collecting the local or a regional Fortinet devices information, and then the collector will send it over or forward it over to FortiAnalyzer. And the bottom picture I show you here, you can see that if it's a Forti collector, you won't have the FortiView, NockSock, the manager and reports, those information in the GUI that you can see. It's basically give you the device manager and mainly collecting the log and forwarding to the analyzer. So from the administrative point of view, right, FortiAnalyzer also provide access security. So you can use LDAP, a radius, multi-factor authentication. So like you have a Forti token or any tokens, you can integrate it with a FortiAnalyzer, as well as pretty much FortiGate too. So you can use multi-factor authentication to allow or disallow administrative access to the FortiAnalyzer itself. And there, for administration itself, it also has its own logs, so you can monitor who has been accessed the FortiAnalyzer, who has been logged into it, access or make any changes from the administration's logs, and you can manage it. And same thing with the ADOM, like I mentioned earlier, you can set up different administrators' domain to allow different, let's say, different set of administrator, different setting for administrator. You can set administrator 1, 2, 3 or operator 1, 2, 3, and with different access to different devices in the FortiAnalyzer. And also I mentioned that earlier, there you have a RAID. So for RAID, there's a different level. Mainly RAID is for either mirroring or striping, right? So you can set up different level. Based on the recommendation from FortiAnalyzer, there's a RAID 1.0 or RAID 10. People usually say it's RAID 0 plus RAID 1, which is striping and mirroring. Or highly recommended is RAID 5.0, which is RAID 50, which is a striping or plus distributed parity. That's recommended, right? That's why you should set up your RAID, so to prevent any loss data because the hard drive failure, right? And then there's a device management. You can use you can from the administrator, you can add device, you can delete device, you can even disable device. When I say disable or delete, meaning that delete from your collecting the logs, generate report from the FortiAnalyzer. And of course, HA. So you can have FortiAnalyzer clustering to prevent to do the failover, to make sure you have FortiAnalyzer always up and always collecting the logs, and you can always be able to do packet analysis to make sure there's no security breaches or break-in. So the login, it's a very important piece for the FortiAnalyzer. That's basically the essential part why you want to have a FortiAnalyzer, right? So once the FortiGate of any device is registered with a FortiAnalyzer, the FortiAnalyzer will collect the logs, for pretty much everything. And again, depends on the level you set to send the log or to pull the log from the devices. So you can have, let's say you can have quarantine logs, you can have IPS packets, you can have a DLP, data loss protection, those information provided to the FortiAnalyzer. And again, I mentioned one more time, you have different log levels. And one thing I didn't mention here is regulation mandate. So it depends on you or your customer's industry, right? So the HIPAA, there's a PCI. Those regulations are very important to specific customer because their regulation mandates what kind of log they need to maintain. Could be different level, could be a very detailed level, and also what's the retention period. So the archive part is very important. So sometimes we don't pay too much attention to that, but the regulation is very important because you need to have the log to prove the information you collected are valid. Right? If you do any security analysis, if you do any tracing of the break-in, the log analysis is very important for you to understand, especially you have multiple log, you need to combine them, you need to go through each one of them to understand the source, trace it down where the break-in coming from. So
hey, David.
Yes.
Hey, I got a good question here and I want to read it out so that all the attendees can see it. Or hear it, I'm sorry. But the question is it possible to get any third-party authentication like Google Authenticator for access without 40 tokens?
That's a good question. I'm not too sure about this. Christian, do you know? Or we can do some study on that to see if that's possible. At this moment.
Yeah, I was just about to hit enter on a web chat answer back to him, but I'm 99% sure you can but you may need the license for it, but I'm double checking on that right now. So let me keep doing some digging and double check. I'm pretty sure you can, because I know you can also use the Forti tokens for other, you can even use the Forti token app in your phone and even import other vendors tokens as well. You can put in your own Google Authenticator. But let me do some digging real quick and I'll get right back to you on that.
Yeah, it does support LDAP, does support other security functions. So I believe it does, but it's a very good question. We'll figure out and we'll get back to you. Thank you very much for the question. So another thing I want to mention to you is you can see that when you try to trace or when you try to discover what's going on and any possible suspicious security break-in, you need to have multiple logs. So that's very important. It's not, instead of just one big log pile up and try to sort through that. That's very difficult. So a FortiAnalyzer, based on the protocol, based on the security profile that you set, let's say for FortiGate, that you have different type of security profile in there. Then when the traffic come in, you will identify if it's a web traffic, if it's an email traffic, if it's DLP, if it's IPS related, application related. So they will categorize for you. And then from FortiAnalyzer, you can go into each one of them, each of the category or types to look for those information and try to trace it, try to figure out what's going on, right? Now, another thing I want to mention is I've been talking about this all along. It's really, I wish the TGIF is not just a talking, it's really interaction, it's really a community things. So I want to build that security awareness among our community. So each one of us understand and contribute to the effort to protect this world. There's instant response plan. It's very, very important, right? So we need to have a plan. We need to have a team. We need to have SOP, and even we need to have SLA. To when we use this technology, when we use the product, it's not just set it up, put it over there, and forget about it. We need to constantly helping the customer, helping us to really address the immediate security issue or any security hole possible in there, right? So the plan, the team, SOP, SLA, need to be working together. So FortiAnalyzer is a great piece of the puzzle. So security fabric is really the whole picture, right? So each one of, well, we're going to talk about each one of them, hopefully in the later on episode. Then this is a very important piece, analyzer collecting all the information, and those information we can archive and we can view immediately, either or. Now, the log files, right? So this is a quick workflow for how the log file is being generated, being cached and stored, right? So you can see the FortiGate send the logs to FortiAnalyzer, right? A log as a raw log, basic is a stream of text and numbers, informations, right? The log file could be very long, could be very complicated. So FortiAnalyzer process it and then sort it out and put into different categories, right? Different things, different types, and then put into the SQL database so you can use SQL query to find information. The report is actually all coming from the SQL query languages. Everything's coming from there. And then if those past the expiration date or retention date or the quota, either they will be archived or they will be recycled, right? So mostly I would hope we can all archive them. So just in case later on we need it, so we can archive into different storage space.
Hey everyone, we're getting a little background noise. So if you take a moment to just check your microphone, see if it's maybe coming from you, we'd appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So then we talk about log protection, right? So there's a rate I mentioned earlier, and we can do the backup log. The backup log can do schedule, you can do menu to back up the log, mostly the current log, because if it's an old log or historical log, it should be archived. And then you can do log redundancy, meaning that you can have the log put into different places. You can even forward the log to another log server, syslog server, or just another FortiAnalyzer if you want to. And the log can be encrypted. So the log encryption is OFTPS, which is called Optimized Fabric Transfer Protocol. And it's using this to encrypt over SSL. So it's a secure socket layer, so everything is encrypted and protected. And then you can even put in a checksum to prevent any log being modified, right? So there's a way in the FortiAnalyzer you can change you can set up a checksum to make sure the checksum is always consistent. And also you can even put in some certification key to make sure the log will not be, let's say, manipulated. Now, so then there's a log view, right? So there's a log view. You can, in the log view, later on in the demo, we'll show you briefly. You can do search, you can filter, you can sort, you can check on different log type. You can even see the raw data or formatted data. And you can create your own custom view. You can do different search, different filter, make it a case sensitive. You can even manipulate the column. We'll see that a little bit later. And then you can do log fetching. Basically, log fetching is if you have those historical log, archive log, you can do log fetching. So the log will, the log view will pull information from the archive log. So you can view them from the FortiAnalyzer. FortiAnalyzer basically only view whatever exists log in the FortiAnalyzer itself, the SQL database. The archive log will stay in the archive storage. But however, if you need historical information, you can fetch those log. And there's a FortiView, and we will see that FortiView basically is a summary of all the log information. So give you real time and historical data based on certain time period. We'll see that later. Then give you an integrated, more analytical kind of a view in the GUI interface, which is pretty, right? And you can set filter too. And there's you can also view by NOC or SOC, Network Operating Center or Secure Operating Center, based on the requirement of those centers. Then you can view the log differently. And event monitoring, what I want to mention is there's IOC is indicator of compromise. So from FortiAnalyzer, because there a lot of security breach or breaking or compromises is really coming from the web traffic. So based on the web traffic, of course, you need to set up web filtering on your FortiGate, for instance. So you can then, the FortiAnalyzer actually will pull the FortiGuard's the so-called threat intelligence package or data. Then they will check those log against that threat intelligence data, so-called threat detection services, TDS. So that those information coming from the FortiGuard, and FortiAnalyzer will do the comparison of the information received or traffic received against the intelligence database. And then we'll provide you alert or information. I do want to mention one thing, that the IOC does need a subscription. You need a subscription for the FortiAnalyzer in order to provide you that functions. And also on the FortiGate side, you need to have web filtering subscription, and also the profile setup with the policy. I know if any one of you attend any of the FortiGate, UTM, and GFW talk a week and 2 weeks ago, and we talk a lot about those, and how do you set up profile, how do you set up policy if you have web filtering, and as well as application filtering, those kind of things. Right. So those will help you to understand or analyze your data better. And again, I want to mention one thing is there's a best practice, right? So you always want to save the log. Some history depends on regulation or depends on your company policy. You want to have the logs ready and available, just in case anything happens, you need to track it down. And you also should, at least in the beginning, right? And also depends on device that you're monitoring. You want to, in the beginning, initially, you should have all level, highest level of the log possible, because you want to see everything first. Then afterwards, you can tune it, you can lower the level to certain to make sure you have enough, you have the baseline build already, and then use whatever information to do the comparison, to do the measurement. Right? You should always maybe set up some kind of an SMP trap for any critical system events, just in case if there's any system downtime, whatever that is, you can use the SMP to trap those events. And then you should always back up your log. You can do menu backup, schedule backup, or you can forward the log to another device, basically just roll the log to different device, different syslog server, different server, and to protect them. That's a best practice. I think you guys are we are in the IT industry, so we understand that backup is a very, very important, critical piece of our life. Now after log, then there's a review, there's a report, right? So FortiAnalyzer provide default templates and reports, so you can easily deploy those templates into your own reports, or just use default reports. There's I don't know if it's 100 reports, there's quite a bit of report in there. You can readily available for you to run and generate a report and give you understanding what's going on. And then maybe after a while you get so into it, then you should customize a report to fit your need, to fit your company need or requirements. And again, it's all based on SQL database. So there's a chart. So basically just give you a graphical view of the report that you want to generate. The charts are generated from the data sets, which is the SQL, basically all SQL select, SQL query. SQL select is read only and no modification, no change to the data. So it's a safe. So SQL select, use that query to pull data, and then you can build in different chart formats, such as pie, such as bar, or even table format, and to build or beautify your reports, to let your management to understand what's going on with your network, and based on information pulled from different devices, especially the FortiGate. So this is report flow, just like we did a log workflow, there's report workflow. So the database generation, SQL select query, you got a result, you generate a chart, and then last you put out the reports. We'll show that in our demo real quick later. So your predefined report, and the report you can view them in HTML format, PDF, XML, or even CSV. So this is CSV, more like a Excel spreadsheet, but it's comma separated file. So then you can afterwards, after you probably run the report for a while, then you can fine tune the report. You can go into default report or predefined report. You can clone it, basically copy it, and create your own one. And then you can go in there. Don't modify the predefined reports, but modify the clone report so you don't lose whatever information just in case there's any accidental mistake in there. So you can fine tune the report setting, change the chart, change the filter, make a lot different based on your requirements, and the customization. Just like I mentioned to you, the clone, you can clone templates and you can clone the reports, either or. And you can, once you create a report, you run the report a couple of times, you think it's good, then you can schedule the report. Don't schedule the report right up off bat yet. You should do a manual running generated report first. Then afterwards, you feel this is all good, then you schedule the report to run a report on the schedule basis. And then you can even group the reporting. The reason you want to group report, because maybe you have multiple FortiGate and you can run a report based on multiple FortiGate. So you don't need to do reporting for each of a FortiGate, but do a grouping, which is help you to generate report more efficient, because once you have more data in the database, generating report could take time, right? It could take a lot more CPU power and time and storage space to generate reports. So you might want to consider a different way of helping you to be more efficient, right? There's one you can try to do that's called SQL hard cache. That's only command line only. You can go in there and change the SQL hard cache. Basically, the hard cache meaning that if you run a report once already, then there's a specific information or index already built. Then when you run that report, it will be much faster, more efficient. Then, of course, if you any change of new logs, then you might want to redo the cache. There's really no right or wrong approach to generate reports. So it's really all depends on your need, right? So you need to think about the need requirements, but also you need to think about the efficiency, effectiveness of the generating reports. So this is pretty much to talk about the FortiAnalyzer itself. I do want to mention there's quite a few different Fortinet resource. You can go and check it out. There's a Fortinet.com, of course. You can look at different Fortinet products, technologies. I highly recommend a partner portal. In the partner portal, you will see current information of the sales and marketing side. And very importantly, you might want to get into the NSE training. There's an online training available for partners. Highly recommended. I believe FortiAnalyzer training can be done through NSE 5. You should take NSE 4, then you should go to NSE 5, or you can skip. You want to go to NSE 6, 7. It's up to you. And support.fortinet.com. Hopefully, every one of you already have one to access. So you can always go in there and download the latest, greatest firmware and release notes. You can always also go to the docs.fortinet.com to look for administrative guide, to look for more detailed configuration setup information. And there's also, I didn't list in here, as a user forum. So there's a forums.fortinet.com that you can go in there to see other people's discussion or even post your own questions. And FortiGuard.com, last week we talked more extensive on that. So you can go to FortiGuard.com to understand what's going on in the industry or in the world right now, what security things going on throughout the world. and there's threat map. And lastly, there's a FortiCloud. I'll show you a little bit later during the demo, and you will see what FortiCloud is really about if you haven't seen my previous episode. So I'm going to dive into the demo, and there's a contact for you. Reed is our vendor relationship manager. Dana is the nice lady that you guys just heard. She's our inside sales. I'm David Yang. And if you have any questions related to technical support, technical questions, feel free to send us support_US. Right, I'm going to start with demo. Again, your feedback, your questions, suggestion, something you don't like, let me know, let us know, so we know how to improve. Again, I want to build this community all together. So I'm going to show you this. Then hopefully everybody can see it. If you don't see it, let me know right away. So this is FortiGate, right? So FortiGate just gives you a quick view of what FortiGate look like in the dashboard. Then I'm going to dive right into the log setting. So under the log and report, of course, there's already a whole bunch of log, but this log's mainly in the memory. So very short, it's real-time log for immediately look up. You should go in there. You can go in there and check out what's going on, right? So you can go in there immediately see what's going on, right? But that's memory, so very little information in there. So if I go to the log setting, you can see that send log to FortiAnalyzer, FortiManager. So I send this log to 1.17, which is my internal FortiAnalyzer, right? When you enter in there, you can do test connectivity, and then you can see that there's a login, and there's a percentage of log has been transmitted, right? Of course, you can change upload option. You can have real time, every minute or every 5 minutes, right? So you can see the logs be collected for the last 3 days. You can see that the event loggings all, local traffic loss all. You can customize if you want to, but basically I want to collect everything, and I want to do resolve host name, resolve unknown application. So once it's done, you click apply. Another thing I want to show you guys this, right? So in the policy, so if I go to the policy here, this is my lab environment. So the other thing I want to show you this, right? So you see that's the logging options. Main default is a security event. So in the beginning, you want to establish your baseline. You definitely want to do all session to log everything, right? To see what's going on first before we tone it down or lower the level, right? So make sure everything you understand what's going on first. So all the information afterwards will be sent to FortiAnalyzer. This is FortiAnalyzer, right? Before I dive into FortiAnalyzer, I want to show you FortiGate Cloud or FortiClouds, right? So this is the FortiGate Cloud. If you look at my FortiGate here, hopefully I don't switch too fast so you don't see that. You can see that my FortiCloud is activated, right? So you need to create a FortiCloud account first. So you have a FortiCloud account, then you can actually collect log from your cloud. But the major differences, like I mentioned earlier in the slides, that FortiAnalyzer is a full-blown, full-function logging, reporting products, right? But FortiCloud, I should say FortiCloud analysis logging is really, it's more like a subset, minimal subset. At least you can see what's going on, right? Then you can grow from here. You can say, hey, in the beginning, I want to see what's going on. So you use a FortiCloud to collect logs, do some reporting, right? The default reports in here. And then you say, okay, I need to see more. When you want to see more, I want to be more function, especially provide recurring services, of course, and the revenue to your customer. You should deploy FortiAnalyzer, either VM, right, or on-premise hardware, either way, right? So that's one I will hope that as a partner, we should always go to that to do this more proactive for our customers. So let me jump right into here. So that's FortiView, right? What you guys already saw is the FortiView, but let me go back to the system setting first. So this is system setting. You can see that this is our system here, and you can set up different things like HA. You can set up HA here. I don't have it, but you can set up HA here. And there's administrator, and you can create different administrator, right? And then you can do different admin setting, those kind of things, right? And then you can look at this. There's a log forwarding. So actually, I forward my log to another syslog server. It's actually the free syslog called Kiwi. We're not going to do this today, but there's more detail. So, and you can see the storage information here, right? So all this is part of the administrator side. And like I mentioned earlier, you can go to event log. You can see what's going on, who's been logging in, and what have they done with the system, with the FortiAnalyzer system itself. Now I'm going to go into the log view. So this is the log view I mentioned to you, right? So this is all the traffic coming in. So you can see that for the last 4 hours, or you can say, hey, last 12 hours, what's going on, right? And you can see, hey, what's going on with the last 30 minutes. So you can, depends on time, you can choose different things. And you can drag those, you can change the column if you want to, right? So you can do all different kind of things based on the filter. Based on this, you can add different filter. You can customize your column. You can also sort the day and time. And you can also customize the different column, different information you want to display in here, right? And then if you have multiple device, you can click on this and show those devices in here, right? So that's traffic log. And then of course, there's a security logs. That's application control, right? So you can see that what's going on with this application. There's mostly HTTPS, the port 443, and you can look at web filtering. Right, see, I monitor everything, but also, I forgot to mention this to you guys, is that if you look at the FortiGate, sorry, jump back into here, the FortiGate, the traffic log, see, I did this for the web filtering too. I did this for web filtering. I did this for application. That's why the log will also have those information appearing here, right? So there's application control and there's web filtering here. So those information appeared in here because we want to see them from the log point of view, right? And you can change different, you can create your own view if you want to, right? So that's a log. And then let me show you the Forti view you just saw earlier. So this is a Forti view, right? All those widgets, you can create different widgets. So last 4 hours, I can look at last 12 hours, right? See what's going on, what kind of traffic. There's a VNC traffic, RDP traffic, TeamViewer traffic. Those things I probably want to. If you can see that if I point to them, you will see more information in there. Oh, let me dive right back into it. Sorry about that. So if I go to the log, so you can see that for each log, you can see much more detail about this specific log, different information in there. This is a formatted log. So give you a lot more information, give you a quick understanding of what's going on with each log. So those information will be parsed into the Forti view, right? So that's how you see the information in the Forti view. I don't have a Wi-Fi client yet, which is we slowly build up the lab. Now, and then let me show you the NOC and SOC. It's trying to generate information. So you can see that from the network operation center point of view, from a security application point of view, this is what you will see, right? And this is you can see that it located me, which is in California here, right? I don't think that I have any vulnerability. Yeah, so there's no data, compromise of monitors. Oh, good, there's no data information. System performance, that's more like from the NOC point of view, right? Network operation center point of view. And worldwide search, but this is basically give you a general information. Let's try to generate a report. Yeah. Okay, you can see that's what's going on. Again, last week we talked about FortiGuard. All this information, again, like I mentioned earlier, is coming from FortiGuard. So FortiAnalyzer, again, pull those information from FortiGuard lab, the intelligence database, and put into a FortiAnalyzer and compare the information that log against those intelligence database. Now, let me go to the report. So this is a report. What you see is predefined report, default report that you can see, right? So if I say, hey, I want to look at an application report. So there's a couple different application reports. So let me just double click for that particular category or type of report. I already have one generated. So you can view it by HTML, PDF, XML. So I'm going to view it by PDF. So which is easy. So this top, so this gives you a report of what's going on for the top 20 applications, right, based on sessions, right? So if I want to go to different report, so there's none to report yet. So I can just go run a report, right? See that? It says running report, 360-degree security review. So it's running it because I don't have not much data, only a few days. So I'm running pretty quick. Once it's done, it will show me different format I can view them. Yeah, see that? So it shows that. So I just click on PDF and it gives you a different view of what's going on. So this is the report, right? So very easy to use, very easy to generate, right? So, and then if you want to say, hey, I want to create my own report, right? So you can create new, right? You can create new, and then you can, from different templates if you want to. And of course, you can also go into the templates. Remember the report workflow? You can go into the template, let's say you want to clone it, right? You can clone it and say, I'm going to say demo templates, right? You can clone it. I'm not going to change anything, but of course you can go in there and change whatever you want, right? Click OK. Then I have a demo report, demo templates that I can use. Let me see, title, demo templates here, right? So this demo template, and then I can go into the reports to create a report based on the demo templates I use. So from templates, and I can say,
and guys, this is Christian real quick. Yeah, exactly what he's doing here. This is one of the most popular things with FortiAnalyzer that you can do is clone a lot of these popular reports that you already like, and then you can add things at the very top, like a title of the report, weekly report for manager Joe Bob, or even add custom logos. So you can put in the company's logo at the very top and really customize these, because these are all data sets, and we have hundreds of data sets in there, and they're just SQL data sets. So the amount of custom reporting is just unlimited amount of options. You can really, really get these things exactly to look and get the information that you want. If you don't want it, you can just remove it from the report. If you need to add anything from, you're like, oh, I kind of like the pieces of this report and these reports, you can just make your custom one and just add it right there. That screen right there is just a great customization that you can do for FortiAnalyzer that you're just unfortunately not able to do with the FortiAnalyzer Cloud, or I'm sorry, FortiCloud reports. You're kind of limited on those CAN reports. So that's where FortiAnalyzer really shines.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Christian. Yeah, FortiAnalyzer, you guys may not know. We all know FortiGate's been there for 20 years, but FortiAnalyzer has been developed not later than 15, 18 years. They've been slowly, gradually improving how the FortiAnalyzer works. It's just tremendous development. So far, it's unbelievable. I've seen this just tremendous information that you can use. You can even build your own macro in there if you want to, right? So you can, and then for the database, you can even do a SQL query, just like I mentioned, right? So all this can be easily customizable, and it's a unbelievable resource that you can use. So you can, again, like I mentioned to you guys, as a partner, selling FortiGate is great, but if you can use the other products like for security's fabric product, such as FortiAnalyzer, to build more value and also provide customer well-rounded understanding and comfort about their network security is very important too. So this pretty much concludes my short and brief presentation. And then feel free for any questions, and appreciate any feedback. And then I appreciate your time and effort to share the space with me. Again, I see you next week.
Thank you so much, David. Great presentation. Awesome demo. Christian, thank you for helping me with questions on the back end. Really appreciate it. Guys, before you take off, I just have one final poll that I'm going to post. Love to get your feedback. So we can kind of help tailor the content based on what you guys are really looking for. Again, I'll be sending a link to today's recording out to all the email addresses that have registered for today's episode. And you'll have my contact information. So if you have any questions or need anything at all, just reply to me, let me know, and I'll help you or get you in touch with the right person. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for spending your Friday afternoon or morning with us. We very much appreciate it. And we hope to see you next week for next TGIF. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.